Hi everybody, welcome back to Giant Talk, the world's first OKR podcast. Today we're on episode 3 of our mini-series all about our 2019 OKR research paper. So of course I've got Roger Longdon back in the hot seat.
Hi guys.
Roger is of course founder of There Be Giants and the author of the research paper, so who better to get along to talk about it, I suppose. Roger, do you want to give us a quick recap on what we've learned so far?
Yeah, sure thing, Lawrence. So the just for those that haven't tuned in yet, this is the report that's been written off the back of a piece of research which has been kicked off because I intend for this to be an ever-growing body of research that we will be publishing annual reports on, and it looks at how OKRs are being used. And what impacts they have, and if organisations were to do them again, what would they do differently? All with the aim of helping those that are yet to have a go at OKRs approach them with a bit more confidence and a bit more clarity and understanding.
Okay, awesome. So on the last episode we were discussing who's using OKRs, right?
That's right, yeah.
And take a listen to that last episode if you're interested in that. But the main findings were that it was technology and software businesses, basically, quickly followed up by professional services and manufacturing. But today we're going to be looking at why are these companies using OKRs, right?
Yeah, that's right. Now, what we asked them to cite their reasons. We gave them a number of choices to choose from, and by far and away, 85% above all others was alignment with vision and strategy. Right. Now, alignment is a term which we've started to see come into modern business language, I think, quite a lot over the past 4 or 5 years. Because my own theory on this is that it's because there are so many distractions that we face in our day-to-day work, from the ever-increasing workloads, the ever-increasing ambiguity, the ever-increasing interruptions from technology, that organisations literally have to fight to keep people aligned. Now that may sound like they're trying to control people, but I don't believe that really effective alignment. You can get alignment through control, but I don't think that is a sustainable approach. You want people to remain aligned. You want people to choose to be aligned. Okay. And this is where OKRs have a fantastic amount of value to give, because if used really well, they can empower, they can instill a sense of purpose, they can bring clarity. These are so important when it comes to helping people to understand what matters most, so that can then influence their day-to-day decisions that they take. Right. Okay. So it's about helping. For me, alignment is about helping everyone in the business to be consistently aware of what matters most, so that when they make a decision on what they do next, they are bearing in mind what the priorities are, and they understand why as well. They understand why it's important to the business, and also, not. I don't think it's unfair for the business to have attempted to help their people understand what's in it for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else was found in this area then?
Okay, so the next most popular reason for using OKRs was employee engagement. Now,
it's a broad topic.
Well, it is. It's a pretty broad church, that one, isn't it? And here's the thing, right? My theory around alignment and engagement is that I've heard some people suggest that they're the same thing. I don't believe that they are.
No, I don't either.
I believe that you need engagement for alignment.
Okay.
Yeah. You need engagement for alignment. Certainly the productive, sustainable type of alignment that we're talking about. But can you have engagement without alignment? I think you can.
Okay.
That's when you have people who are motivated, but they're lacking direction.
Right.
Okay, that's the difference, and that's where you have alignment. You can't have engagement. You can't have alignment without engagement. But you can have engagement without alignment.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, and that's I think this is an interesting point, and I think that in terms of, employee engagement, like you said, is a really broad term which a lot of organisations will use and will mean different things to different businesses, but typically it means that employees are motivated and fired up.
That's important.
So yeah, and OKRs have a huge role to play in that.
Absolutely.
Huge role, but they can also be used. It's a bit like the Force. There's a dark side. If they're misused, you could massively undermine motivation and weaken engagement.
Okay, tell me about that. How?
Well, it's all down to the culture in which they're used and the approach. I mean, if OKRs, if for instance, if someone's key results are used as a way to beat them over the head, if they're going to and leave them feeling a sense of, should we say, a lack of safety, a lack of psychological safety, then you're not going to find that people are probably that engaged.
Sure.
So just the final point on engagement, what was interesting was to look at any correlation between the size of organisation and just how important engagement was for them.
Okay.
And what we found was that engagement was cited as being more of a priority for larger organisations.
Right.
Which is really interesting because I think it's perhaps worthy of further research in itself. A good piece of research always generates more questions than answers, doesn't it? But I mean, my own theory around this is that the larger, more complex an organisation is, the more conscious effort that is needed to be put into making sure that there is strong engagement, as there are so many reasons as to why that could break down. Okay. In a smaller organisation where people where there's the communication links are far shorter, far more immediate, far more timely, and people are just closer. The engagement tends to be far more organic and just it's there. It's there.
Okay, so what was next?
So at 40%, the next choice was increase the focus on growth, which, if I'm honest, I was a little bit surprised that this came at third. I thought it would have come higher. I thought it would have come first or second. And we saw that as an even spread across both small and larger organisations. At 30%, increased innovation, was chosen. But this was interesting because we saw more of the larger businesses choose that than we did smaller businesses.
Interesting.
Yeah, I again, something that is worthy of further research, but my hypothesis here is that smaller businesses, smaller organisations perhaps have the ability and perhaps the freedom to be more innovative in their nature, whereas as an organisation grows, like I say, in complexity and businesses and teams become more distributed, and there's actual distance between them, that innovation can become more difficult. There's more barriers to it. So perhaps this is why larger organisations are turning to OKRs to try and help facilitate more of that. Okay. The final motivator for using OKRs that we looked at was, and this was selected by 25% of respondents.
Right. Okay.
So the final motivator that we looked at for using OKRs was performance management. Now, 25% cited it as a reason. However, 20% were in businesses of 100 or more. Okay, so that's showing that there was more larger organisations that were using it as or citing it as a reason.
Okay, so the 20% metric that you're citing here, is that 20% of the 25% who gave this as an answer, or is that 20% of the respondents?
Really great question. It's 20% of the respondents.
Okay,
Okay,
interesting.
so it's a greater proportion. Now, this is again another area which actually has been really close to my heart for a few years, and indeed was actually the focus of my very first research paper 4 years ago. And this was looking at that point, I was very interested in looking at new approaches to the management of performance in organisations.
Okay.
Now, it seems like a lot of organisations that have had approaches to managing performance, so unsurprisingly, larger, more well-established organisations, they are looking to ways of transforming, particularly moving away from the old cornerstones of activities like annual appraisals, for instance.
Okay.
And the movement, the trend is in performance management is very much towards more regular, continuous check-in conversations, and there is because obviously frequent conversations are very much a part of OKRs, and also OKRs have the word objective in them as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's often an assumption that you can swap out, a traditional management by objective system that is based around appraisals for OKRs. And I have to say, I've seen organisations try that, but I've yet to see anybody succeed.
Got to be very careful, don't you?
You do, because one of the principles of OKRs is bringing clarity, is bringing a lot of clarity. And if you're forcing everyone in the business, if you imagine a business of a couple of thousand people, if you're forcing it so that everybody in that business has an OKR, and if you're working on a quarterly cycle, that's a hell of a lot of alignment activity you've got to do every quarter.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with that, Roger. And I think that moves us on nicely, though, to the last point that you measured, which was about whether people felt that OKRs had been successful for them and whether they'd carry on with them.
Yeah, well, this is the bottom line, really. So we asked them to score on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being extremely, as to how successful they felt they had been in achieving their objectives, their goals for using OKRs, their reasons for using OKRs by the end of the first year.
Right.
Now, the average response was 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Which, yes, on the face of it, sounds disappointing. But what encourages me is that when you add the second measure, which is that 95% of respondents reported that they were committed to sticking with OKRs as they believed it was the right approach, that gives me hope, because that says to me that people are taking the long view on this.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not. I mean, even at 12 months, that's for some businesses.
4 cycles.
That's 4 cycles, and that's a long view in itself.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're prepared to invest in it and take an even longer view, I think is where the dividends will show through.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, when we get into some of the later stages in our conversations, we'll be talking about at what stage. Or how long into the process did they start to see certain benefits and impacts show through?
Right.
Which is really interesting in itself. But so I guess the message here is In terms if to anybody out there that's thinking about using them, you will learn a lot, and it will take time.
Absolutely.
But 95% of respondents reporting that they're committed to sticking with them. That
shows that something's going right.
That it does. It shows that that they are seeing value in them.
100%.
And interestingly, actually, that those that said that they were not sticking with them, the reason for OKRs not working for them and them being dropped, in each case was the reason for failure was lack of senior management support and role modelling.
Right, okay.
So that is a really, really big learning point about what you need to have.
So was preaching
place.
that it has to come from the top has been
well, it has to come from the top in terms of setting the example. Definitely, it has to. It has to be do as I do, not as I say. Yeah, 100%.
Fantastic. And actually, I recorded a podcast yesterday that will be coming out in a few weeks with Emma LaRusso from Digivisor. And they've been using OKRs for coming up to 3 years now, I think it was.
Oh, right.
And we had a long chat about senior management buy-in.
Really?
Yeah, so it's funny that should come up now.
Excellent. Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, so that's a great place to wrap up. Roger, thanks again for joining us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Next week, we're going to be talking about how these organisations were using OKRs. So that'll be really interesting. As always, let us know what you thought. #GiantTalk on Twitter and LinkedIn, and we'll always respond to them. Or if you have any other questions, just let me know. But until then, look forward to chatting to you, and thanks for listening. Cheers. Bye.